In this video we're again going to be talking about the little Olympus Tough TG-6 camera. People will tell you how indestructible it is, so it's ideal for hikers. People will tell you how fantastic it is underwater, so it's great for scuba divers. Now what they don't often tell you is how fantastic this little camera is for macro photography. No, I'll rephrase that. For a compact camera, this is an absolutely epic camera for macro photography. In this video we're going to take a look at some images I've taken on holiday, and I think they're going to blow you away with how good they are, and maybe you'll consider a TG6. So stick around, watch the video and see what you think. So as I've mentioned, the TG6 is fantastic for macro, so because of the tiny dimensions it was an absolute no-brainer to squeeze this thing into my camera bag and take it on holiday with us to Mallorca. Its compact size meant I could just take it along with me, take it out of the bag when I found a subject I wanted to shoot in absolutely extreme macro. I did mention in an earlier video that I bought this, the optional LG1 ring light for the front of the camera, which absolutely transforms its macro capabilities. So this LED ring light allows the camera to focus this close to its subject. As well as that, the TG6 has a microscope mode for macro. Now in that mode you also have the option to do image stacking, where the camera will take 5 shots of your subject at different focal lengths, then combine them in camera to make one macro shot with a much wider depth of field. So in this video I'm going to show you both the unstacked and stacked shots. It's not an exact science. Sometimes I actually prefer the images with a shallow depth of field because it looks more artistic. However, if you would be using this as a field camera to record details of insects and flowers and things like that for scientific purposes, then the stacking application on this camera is absolutely fantastic. It is also great if you are a photographer and you are keen on getting a nice stacked image and don't want to go through all of the hassle of post-processing a stack. The little TG6 does quite a good job. This camera also shoots in RAW, however it won't stack using RAW files. It is only a JPEG option. So for this video I'm going to compare an unstacked JPEG with the stacked version and we'll see what they look like. So enough of the waffle, let's go and take a look at the images. So on to photo number 1. That's an unstacked image of the amber coloured tree sap leaching out of the bark on some pine trees. This shallow depth of field is very much something that you get with this camera, especially in microscope mode. The second image shows the drastically increased depth of field created by image stacking. Whilst it demonstrates how well the camera can stack in camera, I think in this instance I prefer the unstacked version, as it makes you focus more on the sap droplets in the foreground. In this next image, well, images, you can see I've placed 2 images side by side. One on the left is the unstacked image and on the right the stacked image, and you can clearly see the extra depth of field within the stacked image, much more detail, especially when you notice that there is extremely sharp detail of the LED light reflected in the tree sap on the image on the right. Yeah, it's really pin sharp, not bad for an image taken handheld on a compact camera. This next shot is of a shed exoskeleton of a small spider, no more than 1 centimeter or so in size. The unstacked image was fairly good, however, if we move to the stacked image, the level of detail captured is much more impressive. I am really happy with this shot. This next shot, which is of a leaf or frond from a local tree, is another image where I think it works better unstacked than stacked. Please leave your comments below and your thoughts, whether you agree with me on this and the other images. In complete contrast, in this pair of images of a damaged piece of aloe plant, I think the stacked shot has enough of an out of focus background to work, and the extra detail in the subject is beneficial to the image. So in this one I am definitely going to plump for the stacked shot. Similarly, in this pair of images, this cactus close-up, again I feel that the stacked image has more detail to justify using it. Now we come on to some of my favourite images. This shot of a deceased June bug is pretty well detailed ordinarily, and I'd be really pleased to have captured this image with any other camera I own. Again though, when you compare it to the stacked image, the depth of field and ultimately the huge increase in detail makes the stacked image a winner in my book. And it's the same story with this shot, a close-up of the head of the insect. Here I used a modest zoom on the TG-6 to try and get closer to my subject. Filling the frame, I took the shot, and again the detail in the stacked image is impressive indeed. This last image was a complete surprise, as the aphids were so small I hadn't noticed them inside of the flower. My intention instead was to photograph pollen on the stamen. Again, comparing the two shots, it is the stacked image which does a fantastic job of photographing this otherwise hidden world. So folks, if you've enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up. I'd be delighted if you would subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already, and if you're feeling really generous, you can donate via Super Thanks or via Buy Me a Coffee. If you want to see more videos on the TG-6, check out the videos appearing on the screen now.